Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sherlock AI podcast. Today, my guest is Jovita Mascarenhas, who is the founder and the CEO of Bartisans cocktail mixers. You must have seen some of those ads on Instagram. Actually, they are very prevalent there. I, in fact, got to know about the brand on Instagram right around a couple of years ago. And I've been following them. And I am glad she is here now with us for this podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here, Akash. Thanks for having me.
Great. Look, I mean, we'll keep it casual. You want to interrupt me, you want to say something, just feel free to do that.
Absolutely.
Jovita, it's a very interesting category, cocktail mixers and direct to consumer. Not everyone is a cocktail mixing person. Not everyone's a bartender. Would love to delve deep into this category and how it has evolved. But I think what everyone would love to hear from you is, how did you get started, and what's your journey been? I think that if you can talk about that, that'll be great.
Got it. So largely, I think we've been a cocktail drinking family for a very long time. Okay, I think culturally, growing up in a Catholic family brings out that whole, you're allowed to drink at home. Your parties involve a lot.
It's such a stereotypical thing, right? But it is there, right?
Yeah. So they're more comfortable. I think the whole community is more comfortable with alcohol. I think it's a good thing because we noticed that even as a family, we don't drink too much because it is not a taboo. So it was one of those, non-rebellious things. Having a drink is very casual. My dad must have given me a glass of wine when I must have been 8 years old and must have said, take a sip. Like, I'm sure. Our first beers when we were 10 and 12, we used to drink shandies at weddings. I still remember. There was no... it was never thought of as a bad thing. So we grew up very, very comfortable around alcohol. So that got us to experiment a lot. Like, I still remember making my first cocktail when I was 12 years old and I made a Shirley's Temple. I thought it was so fascinating. And, I went around looking for grenadine. I never found it. I eventually started using Roux Afza instead. I mean, you do those things. And Jordan, having grown up in that environment as well, Jordan's my son and my co-founder at Bartisans. So him having grown up in that whole scenario, I think he was also very, very into experimenting with cocktails and drinks, and it has always been his passion. In fact, when I did my catering college, and so did he. And when he did it, his first thing was bartending and cocktails, and the first year that he was in college. The college never does this, but they sent him they always send their third year students because obviously, right, more experience. But they sent a first year student for a All India bartending competition, and he won it. So he was so passionate about it, right? And that's how exactly the entire concept of drinking cocktails for us has come about. But we've also noticed that, the amount of ingredients that you need, you will buy these bitters, and you will buy these liqueurs, and you will make syrups, and you will, just squeezing lime juice. Like, I know, so for example, margaritas are famous at my home. My husband makes...
That's me as well.
Yeah? Oh yeah, totally. He makes killer margaritas, right? But damn, the amount of time we used to take just squeezing lime juice, because there would be a party for 10 and 12 people, and then the amount of cocktails required and the amount of lime juice. I mean, it was painstaking. So that was the point where we came from, where we said, hey, listen, there must be some way to kind of eliminate all of this, right? Wastage of ingredients, the amount of things that you've got to get to put these things together. And funnily, COVID had hit at that time. So we were sitting at home and experimenting a lot.
Drinking, how cool is that?
And the reason we did that, I'll tell you the real thought behind it, Akash, is so funny because we didn't know what was going to happen. COVID was, very questionable. Who's surviving, who's dying. It was quite serious. But
the first few months were just ridiculous, yeah.
The March 2020, I remember, was very scary.
Yeah.
So, me and Carl, my husband, both of us decided that there's a lot of booze in the house. If we have to die, let's drink it and die. That was thought. I so clearly remember. So we had pulled out all the booze. Jordan was interning in Dubai. He was at the Grosvenor House. He was at the Buddha Bar. He was doing some amazing work over there, which he was learning and very excited about. So when he came back, he made us his guinea pigs, and he was trying out all these things on us. And that's exactly how it started. We started Instagramming those things. People started saying, my friends and family largely were like, what is this? Only you guys are drinking. What about us? So we started making these packets and sending it to everybody. But eventually we thought, oh, there must be something here. And when I researched it, there wasn't anyone in India at that time. I think Jimmy's had just been launched, but it was 2019, and we hadn't even heard of it. There was not much about them on the internet. There were a lot of American brands that we were following, and I was very into it even then. So we said, oh, this can be bottled, and this can be, there's scope here. But we, of course, started from our home kitchen. We would just, get orders on. We put together our own website. It was literally a homegrown brand. We had a lot of photography, lighting equipment at home because of my earlier business. We were into lights, and we would photograph those lights. So all of that was there. Jordan was just making. I come from the printing and packaging background, so we knew how to do that. So we just put together these really nice cocktail kits at home and launched Bartisans. Everybody loved it. It picked up traction, and that's how we started.
So I would assume, obviously, no preservatives.
Yes.
Given at
that time.
At that time, I'm sure you need some now for the storage. I mean to preserve them for a little longer.
Yeah.
That's terrific. But one of the things, obviously, I wanted to ask you was your experience with Shark Tank and you refusing the Shark Tank thing, and it was something. It's very surreal, right? To see someone just refuse that and say, okay, you know what, I don't want to do this. So tell us about that experience.
Shark Tank was very interesting. I loved it. I loved the experience. I loved being there. I loved interacting with the people, the learning that I got, the pure adrenaline of being on national television. And it was fabulous. I mean, it took me a while to convince Jordan to come to Shark Tank though, because it was in Hindi and he's not very comfortable with Hindi, and him being like a 20-something-year-old, he was like, I'm not going on national television and embarrassing myself. So it took me a while to actually get him we did season 3 finally when we did it. But having said that, I think we were very, by the time we got to Shark Tank, we've been in existence for 2 years, and we had quite understood the category, So we really didn't want a partner who didn't believe in us. So if you had to go all in and you said, hey, listen, I'm taking a bet on you guys because you all are doing something different in the category itself, I would have never said no to that money. It's just that I felt that, this was just a half thing, like half was dead, half was there were so many things you were not giving us. We had reached the kind of turnover that was way past our earlier round, and I do understand when VCs tell you that your valuations are too high, but the fact remains that when you're starting something from scratch, if you are not going to give that company a certain valuation, so that the dilution for the founders is not that much. So what's the sense in the founders even doing something like that? Because this is not a tech company, right? It's not it's not going to be how tech companies grow and scale, and then VC will then give you money according to that trajectory. Well, this is going to be a painstakingly long brand building, iconic kind of brand that we wanted to build. So we were very, very clear about it. This is our passion. This is what we love doing. We were not building this to sell and make money out of it. We were very clear about it, right? So then why take money where it's just going to push you into that? Yeah. Although I was very scared once I said no and came out of the tank. I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Bringing an investor on board brings its own complications. And if the investor is not aligned with your vision, then obviously it's going to create a lot more problems, right? So I think, you did the right thing. And I think that's a message to all young entrepreneurs, is that not every time a VC who makes you an offer is the right VC, right? Or is the right offer, right?
Is a VC the right thing also?
See the right thing, correct? Yeah, yeah.
Our category, definitely not. It's
Right.
not a fast-moving category. We will never be able to give the VC an exit in 5 to 7 years. We need somebody who's more strategic, who's involved with us for a very long time, and is patient. Patient capital is what we need. VCs don't give you patient capital. So you have to figure out the category you're in and then decide, listen, where am I getting my money from?
Right. No, so that's a good segue into the category of thing, right? Because this category is very new. Like you said, there was only Jimmy's before you, and then you are literally changing consumer behavior, right? You're literally making people become bartenders at home, be comfortable to have these different cocktails at home, and not just. I mean, India has primarily been a hard liquor, spirits. Just here's my peg and douse it with soda or water and go with it, right? So tell us more about that. Tell us more of how you envision this category to grow. How is it going to grow? And your take on it. I think that would be great.
So I think when we first started, of course, we thought every family was like our family. Right? We were like, everyone's going to drink this. What's the big deal? If you can make a cocktail that's so amazing at home, why wouldn't you do it? Damn it. Like, come on. I didn't see But, oh God, we've learned some hard lessons over the years. India is a very, the cultural trends in India matter. Like, you cannot beat family culture in India, right? So if you have parents living with you, there's no way most families will drink, at least the youngsters will drink in front of their parents. Both drink. The parents drink, the youngsters drink.
But in isolation.
Yes.
Separate from each other.
And that is not at home. Right? So that learning came very late to us. We were like, why? What's happening? Like, this should have picked up much faster. And especially with COVID, when people were drinking at home. But then we realized that the ones who are drinking are the ones who are grown up. So we, of course, they had their own homes, own families. Kids, no kids mattered. Pets, no pets mattered. Like, all of these things kind of fell into place, and we suddenly started seeing this whole behavioral pattern with our consumers, that who are the ones who are actually, drinking the way that we want them to at home, having a good cocktail. Again, the whole gin culture, I think, helped us a lot. When
obviously grown in the last few.
Absolutely, yeah. So the gin guys are struggling. I know that, but it helped us as a cocktail mixer brand, because gin is not so. Funnily, gin is a sipping spirit. Technically, you should be having it on ice. It's amazing. That's why people make craft gins, because they put all these ingredients in it that are supposed to savor and taste and all of that. But that doesn't happen. People mix it with tonic water and kill it. My hated drink on earth is GNT. So, but then that's how you cannot change that behavior, Akash. You cannot tell people, okay, don't stop having your GNTs, sip the gin. So we're like, okay, for people who don't like the bitterness of the tonic, here's a better, a sweeter, better, sweet tasting, better option for you, healthier as well.
I'll give you an anecdote from my own life, right? So, COVID time, I was with my aunt, who was elderly, and I was sort of with her for she wasn't too well, and I was alone at home, and then I just went and stayed with her for a few days, and she had a giant bottle of Patron, and I used that Patron, which is a sipping tequila, to make margaritas. And she would be like, okay, yeah, do whatever you want. And my friends and family, like, you're making margaritas out of a sipping tequila? And I'm like, yeah, So, but that was sort of, like, to your point, right? Certain, like you talk about gin, which is, certain craft gins are sipping spirits. And but we just end up just mixing all of it and doing it. So, but I think to that, did COVID play a role in people wanting to make cocktails at home? Because I did make my own cocktails, because I'm like, okay, I may as well just make it, right? But did that have a bit of a jump?
It did. 100% gave us that trajectory in the start to at least create the awareness, because otherwise just creating awareness can be so expensive, right? So that definitely gave us that push. COVID did, kind of, yeah. But the sustenance of it has been tough, is what I'm going to say, for sure,
Yeah.
I think that people have started going out more, so drinking at home is not as prevalent as much as, during COVID at least, as compared to COVID. So, yes, you have that slight dip, but I also feel that over time that inflection point is going to come. In a category like this, you've got to stay put, survive, be patient, and then, wait for the tailwinds to kind of push you there. It'll come, but it is going to be, it's not easy.
So no, I think from when you talk about people going back to bars and stuff. I mean, if you look at the way the streets of Mumbai are, I mean, you and I took time to come here today, right? I prefer, and my circle of friends actually prefer to be at home and do all of these cocktails at home. Order in food or make food at home. And I think certain demographic has started to do that, right? Maybe the younger guys are still like want to go out and stuff, but I think people in our category sort of tend to do that.
Families, right, do that a lot at home, the whole at home thing. But single people who
want to go out,
the lonely, I guess they are the ones that kind of work all week, and then they have the Saturday Sunday to just kind of, they don't want to sit at home.
Yeah, understood.
Break free. So that's exactly what's happening. I think it's it depends from age category to age category. I think that's why we were very clear. Let me give you that thing as well. So when we started off and we got funded by a VC, the VC was pushing us towards making a cheaper mixer. They were like, make a mass market drink. You won't pick up till you bring this to a 50 rupee level. I'm like, to make a 50 rupee drink, and if for us to survive, that drink has to cost 10 rupees. And 10 rupees, only water, sugar and flavoring will happen.
Right.
Right? So, I mean,
craft in it.
There's absolutely no craft in it, right? So if you want a crafted drink with real ingredients going into it, that's going to be a 100 rupee drink. I mean, there is no beating that, right? So we stuck to our guns. We actually did have a lot of, and also, do you realize that the people who can afford it are the older ones? The younger ones can't really. I don't target the 18-year-olds. Dude, you can't afford my drink. Don't bother. I mean, you're not you make money first, then you drink bar.
Plus, they prefer going out anyway, right? So, and going to bars.
It's worked out to be a very good fit. It's a smaller market though, because it's very niche. But I would still prefer to be a small giant, Akash. In all honesty, I would rather do something well and be the best at what I'm doing, instead of trying to capture this whole mass market scenario where people are trying to, sell crores and crores. I'm okay. I'm okay with a smaller turnover, but as far as I'm doing a good job, right? So that's.
No, and as the category grows, your TG grows and the market grows, you'll grow with it if you are number one in that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And for us, with a product like the one that we're doing, earlier we didn't even use preservatives. So when we first started, we were a fresh on order product, 24-hour shelf life. Didn't really work, so we shut that down. We then moved on to a concentrate version, sugar heavy, because the sugar was the preservative. But then we realized that people who are our age, who are drinking, don't want that much sugar, right? So then we had to kind of tweak that. Also, we didn't want to complicate it for people. The very fact that we are offering you something that is removing the complications, even the shaking and stirring to dilute the drink was a complication. So we wanted to take that off. So we then made it lower sugar. We substituted the sugar with monk fruit extract, which was 0 calories, great tasting. We made it a ready to pour. We changed our packaging. We earlier had a black bottle which looked like a cough syrup bottle. People would say, why are you selling in a cough syrup bottle?
I used to love those. The first time when I first saw your ad, was the cocktail, the medicine bottle.
But the general consensus was a cough syrup bottle. So I was like, oh my God. So that was where I learned my lesson, that everything works in the US market, need not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah. So we took that off. We obviously made it into looking like a cocktail shaker, and that's how we then relaunched it. So we've pivoted 3 times.
Well, I wouldn't say pivot. I think it's more change your strategy a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Bartisans has taken a D2C route rather than focusing on retail. So what was the thought behind that strategy? Was it the VC or was it always what you wanted to do?
We knew it was the easier thing to do and the less expensive thing to do. So what happens with retail is the fact that you've got to have distribution, right? And without brand awareness, having distribution is not going to make sense. So brand awareness was our first step. We were like, people need to know who Bartisans is. Why is that bottle priced at the price point that it is? And then go on retail shelves. Otherwise, people are just going to see us next to another cocktail mixer, see that this is double the price and just put us back. But once they know that, hey, real ingredients, lower sugar, all of that, they know the story behind it. People don't buy product, Akash. People buy stories. I tell you that 100%. People don't care about, they're not thinking money, they're not thinking anything else. They want to know what they are having and what's in there, why was that made, and what's the story behind it. And the minute they connect with that story, I think for us the plus point was a mother-son, right? Nobody really expected that.
That's right.
Right? They were like, what the hell is going on? You're drinking with your kid, and Jordan was all of 20 when we started.
Like, not even legal age. Yeah.
Just say, come to Goa with me. But that's what it was like, right? So he would, the whole trajectory for us has been that we should first make people aware and then go on retail. We're still not full-fledged on retail shelves. I think for us now that distribution is coming through quick commerce, but it was a very conscious decision. Although D2C at that time used to work in the 2020, it was not where, it was people getting 10x ROAS and Facebook and stuff had finished off. You were just now at like 2 and 3. Yeah. Facebook had woken up to, we can make money here. Yeah. So we got in a little late. So it has been tough for us. But we've survived. So, we've had good partners along the way and we've survived. So I think that, like I said, survival is the key. So you've got to stay put, keep at it, and just keep.
I mean, you since you talked about marketing, and I'd like to plug in Sherlock AI, and we've started working together. Bartisans is a partner now with Sherlock AI, and we are helping. We're using Sherlock to help reach out to the right audiences. So, you okay if I ask you? We talk about this a little bit, right? So, when we first met online and I walked you through the product, what were your thoughts?
I was so blown. Couldn't wait to talk about it. Right? But then, of course, we have to prove a point before we start talking about it. And we're working on that, right? But just the idea of it, just the fact that we could, user behavior for us is so important. Correct? Because we've noticed that we've been trying to get that right for the last 3 years, that what do people want to have? When do they want to have it? Where are they drinking? What are they drinking? What is the likes, dislikes, etc. All of that, right? But knowing what people do kind of helps you navigate through that whole maze of, and I think Sherlock is doing such a fab job with it. I mean, each time I have a meeting with your team, it's always a step towards bettering the entire process, right? Always. I mean, we've never stepped back as yet. I know it's slow. I know it. It'll take time. And we are open to it. Listen, look at where we are, right? So we know that. It's just that the idea of it was so fascinating to me that I had to try it. Trust me, I wouldn't do this with anybody else because, because we know how important the money is for us and how we need to keep it for a while because we know that the entire category is going to take so long. We are very, very careful. Like, we are a 3-people team, right?
And you can't spray and pray, right? You can't hope that something will...
Correct. Yes.
Targeting. Just for people who are watching this and who don't know about Sherlock AI. So Sherlock is it's an AI platform and which uses over 40 plus third-party data sets to analyze consumer behavior, offline consumer behavior. And the way you would look at this is that Sherlock understands people, it understands the places these people visit, it understands the products they purchase and at the price point they purchase. So the 4 Ps of your market, of your category, is something that Sherlock is very well aware. We understand, or Sherlock understands, how people move about, what do they do on the weekends, what do they do on the weekdays, what's their commute like, and a whole set of insights about consumer behavior. So, and what we're doing with Bartisans is trying to use these audiences, use these insights to understand what are those audiences that would prefer to make cocktails at home, that would prefer to have parties at home, that would require cocktails, and then help them reach out to these audiences as well. Tell us more about some insights you've seen in your journey. Like, how have people's tastes evolved? I've seen categories like even this Thandai category you had for Holi, right? So help, like, some insights, some stories about that.
We've had, when we first started off, we knew, so we are the only cocktail mixer brand that offers a variety of 21 different cocktail mixers, right? The reason we're able to do that, of course, is because we own our manufacturing and, we're handcrafted products and artisanal. So, but apart from that, we realized that people need familiarity. That was one of our biggest learning over the years. You give them that one familiar product and you put in that one experimental bit with it. So we did this, for example, you do a smoked pineapple and you add basil. As far as they know pineapple, they're open to experimenting with how basil would go with pineapple, right? So they're okay. If you give them that right fix of combination of products, like I would, for example, the Raid and Run is our best-selling product. Which one is this? This is the Jamun and Jeera with Himalayan pink salt. You taste it and it's nostalgia.
And what does it go with?
It goes with gin, vodka, and tequila. Right? So it gives you a different tasting cocktail with every different spirit that you use it with. So we, ask people to experiment with what we are, try, tell us what you like it with, all of that. So all our consumers are constantly telling us what they like, what they don't like. So we realized that the Indianized flavors do much better. There's like the Indian summer, for example. So that's mango, cilantro, and bird's eye chili. You would never imagine mixing mango with cilantro, but right? Just one. So that's our second best-selling mixer. Now, and it's got apple cider vinegar in it. So the sour is not lime. The sour comes from the ACV. So just these combinations, I think that people have a familiarity with that little bit of experiment. So they can talk about it, gives them a talking point that have you ever tried it with like an ACV or a shrub kind of thing. But it's still a mango drink, which I'm comfortable having.
Yeah.
Right? I think that learning has been very pivotal for us. And tell me.
No, I mean, Indians traditionally have been very tentative with trying out new things, right? Unless there's a comfort ingredient in it that they saying, okay, well, let's try this, right? Because I mean, that's why you have Indian restaurants mushrooming everywhere, because people
exactly.
Or they still want the comfort of, okay, I'm get bored of the food in this place and I'll go to the Indian restaurant, right? So yeah.
But say I did a cocktail which has yuzu, olive oil, and something like that, I doubt it would sell as much. It would be very interesting to do, but it wouldn't sell as much, right? So like the Thandai. Correct. We made a mistake with the Thandai, I must tell you. So this was another learning. We just did a very small batch, limited edition of Thandai. We just made 400 bottles and we said, okay, let the market tell us what they think. We as a cocktail mixer brand thought that if you're using the Thandai as a cocktail mixer, there has to be a balance of lime. But the Thandai is a milk-based drink. Of course, we had...
So lime, yeah.
Lime was not going into the head. Although we don't have milk in our Thandai, we have coconut milk. And the lime was giving it that balance. But the very fact that it had lime and that it had that light, slightly sour taste made people think that, hey, this is spoiled, right? So those learnings come only with time. I mean, this was the first time that we've had something which has got such bad feedback. But we've taken it in our stride and we're like, okay, and the next batch of Thandai we're still doing it for the summer. We avoided the lime. We're like, okay, let's take the lime off and let's give people what they know is a good Thandai. So, yeah.
So, briefly, you mentioned earlier about quick commerce. I believe this category is just blowing up right now. You guys also seeing that happen with your category as well?
Absolutely. I think, so see, drinking at home is the kind of, so say,
It's a last minute decision. Yeah.
and not only that, even if it's not a last minute decision, the mixers are something you'll always buy at the last minute. You know, so the whole concept of, even though on our own website we have same day delivery, which is if you order before 2 o'clock, you will get it on the same day, but still that doesn't work as much as QCOM works for us. Everybody is so now into the I need it in 10 minutes. It has just taken, I mean, there's no fighting it. So we are just going along with it. We're growing month on QCOM, and it's been a great ride. I hope it stays, and I hope we're also able to do that distribution much easier. Like, gives you the distribution, right? So you are no longer now working with 10 different distributors trying to place your product here, there, and the other. You've got that one Blinkit, one Instamart to kind of deal with. The category manager needs to be your best friend, and you need to kind of just put it, just open out states and APOBs for you, and you've just got to put your product out there. And then advertise, of course, So that initial investment of, making sure people, so we do that in 3 ways. We mention it on our website that, hey, listen, we're on Instamart, Blinkit. I think that is one of the best ways to do it. We advertise for Instamart, Blinkit on Meta, where we do awareness ads where we're just telling people. And then we advertise on Blinkit as well. We put our ads over there. I mean, they have an advertising strategy, and we do that as well. But it has worked. We still get a better ROAS than we do on Meta for our own conversion website. But we can't ignore that anymore. Like for now, there was a time, I think this time would have been 8 months ago. We were doing 80% of our business on our own website. Wow. Today, 60% of it comes from QCOM. I'm not kidding.
Wow. That's crazy. Actually, a lot of companies, and not just D2C, but even regular CPG companies, have basically the feedback we get is, look, I mean, we were just starting to get a handle on e-commerce, and now suddenly out of nowhere, quick commerce come, and now we have to relearn everything. But the good thing about this, and again, a plug-in here, is Sherlock actually understands a lot more about quick commerce and the deliveries from the dark stores that are happening in quick commerce. So if any one of you is interested, please reach out to us to ask us how we could tackle the beast of quick commerce and understand behavior from quick commerce and the deliveries from quick commerce.
Beast is the right term.
It is, right? It's growing and growing so fast. It's crazy.
Navigate what is economically viable for us.
Right. Correct.
Initially thought we would make a lot of money out of it. Then it started breaking even. Now we're like, oh, we may be burning a little bit money here. But we can't ignore it. I mean, there's no way.
Sales are happening there, yeah.
And people aren't buying on our website anymore. They're just like, okay, listen, I'll pick it up on Blinkit.
Correct.
And logistics are so much more easier for us even. Our logistics cost, just to give you an example, to send to a customer is 23% on a same day delivery. Like 23% of our cost goes there.
That's right.
Quick commerce is 7%. So
that's right. I mean, it's the economies of scale that they bring.
Right. So once we reach those numbers, this is going to be a way better thing for us to do anyways.
I think if they are allowed to sell alcohol, I think your category will just blow up with that, right? Yeah.
I'm sure the government is never.
I'm sure. It's going to be a complicated affair, but.
Totally. I mean, let's not go there. Manufacture alcohol. Oh God, I cannot empathize with them more.
Yeah, it's crazy. But look, thank you. I think one more thing. We would love to tell us some recipe, something that something that's easy for our viewers to make at home using one of your cocktail mixers. I think would be great.
Cocktail mixers, you don't need a recipe because everything's in it. You just need the mixer and alcohol and ice. So that's the best part about the mixer. But if you guys are love experimenting and love cocktails, then I think the picante is the thing that is doing the rounds today. Very, very simple. It's a 1:2. So you just make a sugar syrup, which is a simple syrup, 1:1 sugar and water. You make lime juice and you just muddle in some chili and coriander, which is going to be in your kitchen at all times. With this sugar syrup and the lime juice, add the alcohol, add some ice, shake it up and make yourself an amazing picante.
Amazing. And any alcohol, right?
These are made with tequila, traditionally.
But any white spirit. Yeah. Okay.
So if you have jalapenos, even better.
Super. Any words of advice to young entrepreneurs, bartenders, or all our viewers?
Oh, I guess just keep at it, right? Not giving up for an entrepreneur is, I think, the biggest lesson. I think it's the toughest thing to do. I mean, I've been in entrepreneurship for the last 30 years now. It's been a learning, but each time I've failed, I just know that you got to stand up, dust yourself off, and move on. So yeah, just keeping at it. We all know that survival for businesses is tough. But eventually something does work out, and you've just got to wait.
I think the key learning that I have had as a entrepreneur is that staying in and being there is half the battle won, right? The tide eventually turns, and you've got to just ride the wave then, right? So you've got to wait for it. Yeah.
The patience is a little difficult. I get it, right? And stuff. It's
And the pressure around you, right? You see others doing very well. You think that, hey, why is everyone else doing the same? I mean, they're raising buttloads of money, they're scaling up, and why can't we scale up, right? So yeah,
but each one has its own.
it's a different, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You've got to learn to live.
I mean, we took 11 years to get to where we are with our product, right? The 40 different data sets to bring in, build a database infrastructure that would allow us to add any kind of data coming in very quickly, so that we're not dependent on any one data set, and be beholden to it. It's taken us 10 years to get here, right? And now you've seen the product, and you'll see the impact as well over the next few months. You'll see that impact as well. But a lot of companies have seen a 12x, 8x ROAS. One, yeah. In fact, one international car company actually saw 75% reduction in the customer acquisition cost within 3.5 months. So that's the impact that, and we stayed the course. I mean, we literally were asked by investors, what are you guys doing? And, can you maybe you guys may want to think of doing something else. A lot of support from investors, but they were more concerned about our own careers, me and my co-founder. But we stay the course because we, of course, believe in what we're doing. So, and now things have changed. AI has now exploded, and everybody wants to now hear about AI. And when they see something as simple as, oh my God, I can really do this with AI, I don't need to do something complicated. It just becomes easy for us to sell. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I think you're right. Just the belief is so important. Believing in yourself is so important. And I don't blame people who falter a little bit along the way. I have done it too. Yeah. It's tough, but it's good. Yeah, it's worth it.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Jovita. Thank you for being here. And it's been a pleasure working with you and having you here on this podcast as well.
This is all mine.
Thank you.